And this administration of President Bola Tinubu has undoubtedly raised concerns about the potential impact it will have on the Nigerian populace. Now, to mitigate the adverse effects of this decision, President Tinubu has allocated 5 billion naira to each state. This funding, intended for the provision of palliatives, also carries with it the responsibility of prudent management and transparent utilization. In fact, for many Nigerians, state governors must guarantee the accountable and equitable utilization of the allocated money. That's on one hand. There are others who are saying, is this enough? Will this alleviate poverty as it is intended to do? Let's bring in the former National Publicity Secretary of Pan Niger Delta, Anabs Sara-Igbe. Good to have you join us.
Thank you.
So different palliative measures were rolled out by the National Economic Council yesterday. To what extent do you see this alleviating the hardship faced by those who have been termed multidimensionally poor in the country?
Well, thank you very much. We had experienced this kind of palliatives in the past, and the poor man never benefited from these palliatives. In the case of the Niger Delta, we have 13% derivation. But for those who are supposed to enjoy 13% derivation, they are not the one enjoying it. So when you give palliative of 5 billion, I don't know how the government will make it possible for the average poor man in Nigeria to benefit. We're talking about the cost of food items, cost of transportation, cost of all essential commodities. 5 billion is not enough to cushion the effect of this hardship on Nigerians. We need to find a very good solution before going in to remove subsidy. And even the subsidy in question, where some of us are still doubting if indeed there was subsidy in Nigeria. And because in the past 5 years, only the NNPC, which is government, is the only body importing petroleum products. So the subsidy is being paid to government themselves. Government is out to address the needs of the people. And the needs of Nigerians today is how to kill hunger. And when government do policies that increase the hunger and come up with palliatives that are not reasonable enough to really kill the hunger, that's the question. If governors receive 5 billion and 5 billion is to share 5 billion. I don't know how they want to do it. Free transport only operates within the city. It does not go down to the rural areas. So the 5 billion equation, we are watching how they want to share it for the citizens to benefit from it. For now, we have not seen any.
There are those who say, look, when you look at the precedent set by whether it's the Shopee program or whether it's the COVID-19 palliatives and how it was handled, that this also raised concerns about how state governors might disburse this, that it might become some sort of palliative measures for only political those who are loyalists, rather. Do you also share those concerns about how well this might be disbursed within the states?
Well, just a few years ago, we had palliatives like feed the school children. We had all kinds of loans. It never went Nigerians. Rivers State never had school feeding program. And some of states in the Niger Delta never enjoyed free school feed. Neither do we have the market women loan. These things went through few persons, and a lot of issues were raised. So when you say palliatives in Nigeria has never gone down well. If you want to share food, how will you share the food? We have 774 local government. In some states, we have over 30, 40 local government. Some have 8 local government. Some have just 20 something local government. And you are giving all the states equal amount of money. So how would they share it so that everybody will benefit? Food to every part of the country is also difficult. In my part of Nigeria, if you are going to share food, how are you going to think of the transport costs to the riverine area, where you will take it to the waterside, load it again, and go and load it there before you take it to these people? So these are not measures that can drive down to kill hunger or to kill the suffering in the society. Government, the governors must think very well. Those in the Economic Council must think very well. How do we resolve this? We are asking them to quickly ensure that Dangote refinery goes to work. We're asking them to ensure that all the refineries are working so that we don't export crude oil and import crude oil, add the cost together, the shipping costs and other costs, and that makes the cost of petroleum to be high. If we are producing the petroleum locally, the price will be low. And more so, we can also sell our crude oil to our refineries in Naira. So the exchange rate will not have effect on it. By so doing, we will be able to stabilize our petroleum price. But the subsidy they are getting from the petroleum, let's say they say 5 billion. 5 billion times 36 states will be how much? Then how much they said they have saved trillions of naira. So if you have saved trillions of naira, and the trillions of naira cannot effectively reduce hunger in Nigeria, are we progressing or we are progressing? So these are the things government should consider.
All right. Let me get your thought on something else, because we want to try and get to your reaction to as many issues as we can in the time frame that we have. So first of all, let me get your thought on the assignment of ministerial portfolios as we saw this week rather. What's your thought on all the ministers designates and the portfolios they got? And we also know that Pandev has raised questions as to the Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs.
Well, the people of Niger Delta are not too happy. We are not happy in the sense that the Ministry of Niger Delta was not mentioned, which is a major tool in the development of Niger Delta. Having said that, you see, government of the president has appointed ministers. Out of the ministers, 25 of the ministers came from the north, and about 20 came from the south. And the jumbo ministries are all given to the north and few to the south. Then we're talking about their performance. Some we have seen the antecedent, they can do better. Some we don't know them until they perform. But right in the Niger Delta, particularly River State, we are so happy that Nyesom Wike is now in Abuja, Federal Capital Territory. We believe it will now lose a grip on the governor. Let the governor run the state as a governor, not as a puppet. We are happy because he will not be coming here to interfere with the governance as he has been doing. So that alone is a plus for the people of River State. And so the other Niger Deltans, yes, 7 of them are there. But we have problem in the Niger Delta because when our sons and daughters are appointed into ministerial level, they seem to forget where they come from. And they never synergize with the regional bodies. They have not been able to help. Some of them work in different directions with the governors. So there's no synergy between the state government and some of these ministers. So to an extent, they are not thinking of development. Unlike the West, when they finish elections and they go into governance, they are thinking of developing the West. But the Niger Delta in particular, for some time now, we have been having all kinds of things that they don't. The ministers, the governors, they think they are above the owners of the state. And so they do whatever they like, and they don't consider what comes into the region. I give you an example. The last Order Board administration, we had the Minister of Transportation who could build railway to Niger Republic. But right in the Niger Delta and the Southeast, there was no railway at all for 8 years. And you are borrowing money with our oil and gas. And who is borrowing the money? It's our own son. And it's not doing anything for us. So if we have people as ministers, it's not enough for them to say, yes, we can develop the place. Look at the East-West Road, for instance. The East-West Road has been there for over 20 years. And up to now, we are still having a problem. Yet this road is not only a Niger Delta road. This road is the gateway to the Nigerian economy, because ports are the gateway to the economy of every country. And most of the ports, the Tinkan Island and Apapa, are all linked to the East-West Road. But nobody pay attention to it. When you send your sons there, they don't even care. They don't even behave like Fashola from the West, who was able to improve a lot of the roads in the Southwest. But our own, when they go there, they do different things. We believe Umai, who is a Port Harcourt boy, will be able to consider that, look, the South-South need to derive benefit from this road network. We need to do more roads in the Southwest. There are so many projects that are in the budget in the past that money was budgeted for, and they were diverted to do other projects in the South-South. And these are the things we are looking at. The other ministers, we have Minister of Petroleum and for state, Minister of Gas for state. I hope these people will look at the issues of the pollution, the environmental hazard caused by the production of oil and gas on the people, not just going to defend the nation because they are ministers of Nigeria and their people should die. We don't want.
But if I may quickly comment, we know that there are 3 more ministers who are waiting for security clearance from the DSS, and when that happens, they might also, or if that happens, they might also be sworn in. And one of them is from the Niger Delta region. But are there plans by PANDEV or elders of the Niger Delta to meet with the president? Because he has not said that that ministry has been scrapped. But are there plans to meet with the president to put some of these issues on the table as regarding the Niger Delta region?
Yeah, it's necessary that the leadership will meet with the president, and I think we will do the needful to see that we meet with the president. But remember, in the past, the Niger Delta leaders have met with the former president, where we presented 16-point agenda, and only lip services were made. The vice president also came in and told us a lot of stories, and nothing happened. But I believe Tinubu from the South will be able to appreciate the leadership of the Niger Delta, PANDEV in particular, and the other bodies, the FNFRE in the Southwest, and the Wadis in the Southeast. Will be able to take them seriously, because these bodies are fighting for the people, and they know the needs of the people, and they can trigger whatever it takes. So if he wants to actually succeed with the economy, I think there's need for him to look for the Niger Delta. Although we have the MD of NDDC, but that cannot be able to solve all the problem. The MD of NDDC will play its role, and the Niger Delta Ministry will also play its role. So we may
there are those who will say, look, the Niger Delta Ministry has not been that effective, that monies have been disbursed that were not used for the purposes, that some roads have been, tagged NDDC projects for years, not been fixed. Minister upon minister have come and gone, not fixing those roads. And so that perhaps maybe the overall ministries, for example, the Ministry of Works can handle infrastructure in the Niger Delta as well. The Ministry of Environment can handle the environmental issues as well. How do you react to that?
Look, let us get one thing clear. The Ministry of Niger Delta came through Yaradua after a lot of dialogue and consultation. And the assumption at that time was that the Ministry of Niger Delta will be like the Federal Capital Development Authority. While Federal Capital Development Authority is funded, the Ministry of Niger Delta was not funded, except during the Yaradua era and the era of Jonathan. Last year, the budget for Niger Delta Ministry was 10 billion, both capital and recurrent. What will you do with that? They have not been funding the ministry. And so how will the ministry be effective? We want an effective Niger Delta ministry. This ministry will not only develop infrastructure, they must also look at the environmental hazard in the region. There are a lot of issues affecting Niger Delta that federal government can directly handle. Because if we say, okay, we have done so much for Niger Delta and these things are not done, the outcry will be on the federal government. Then let's come back to Minister of Niger Delta. When people say, oh, we have this NDDC, why Minister of Niger Delta? You have the North East Development Commission. And yet, the Ministry of Agriculture still goes there to do a lot of things. We have the Ministry of Water Resources also going there to do a lot of things. Come to the South. Let the Ministry of Water Resources point to what they have done in the South-South. They cannot point to anything. We have the dams all over the north. Do we have dam in the South-South? Look at the flood, how it affected us. Was there any dam between the Onitsha axis to the Delta and River State axis? No dam to contain the water. Yet we have the Federal Ministry of Water Resources. The Federal Ministry of Agriculture is also addressing the issues of the north. Let them tell us what they have done in the South, particularly South-South, where they build farms or where they have provided farming implements, or what promotion have they done in terms of agriculture in the South. These ministries are basically addressing the issues of the North. The Minister of Works in the last session was more interested in developing the West. They were not interested in developing. Which road have they developed? Even the East-West road.
The fourth Niger Bridge was developed in that administration, and it's not in the West. A lot of people would say so. I mean, there were other projects that were put together in the South and in the West and in the North as well. But I wish we had enough time to have this conversation. But we're looking forward to that meeting you will have with the president and some of the agenda, or the agenda rather, you will put on the table, and how this administration will respond. Thank you so much for talking to us. Former National Publicity Secretary of Pan Niger Delta, Anabs, Sara-Igbe.
Thank you very much. The time was so short, we could not discuss issues. But maybe next time we can talk.
Absolutely, absolutely.